My name's Henry C. Turner Jr. I retired as a lieutenant colonel out of the United States Army.
How did your reality of service match up with your perception of service life?
Well, when you go into the military, one of the things that you're thrust into is being able to get along with everyone, all walks of life, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, or whether you're rich or poor. And so I think my reality of it was coming from a predominantly black county and going back into West Point, my reality was you better learn to get along with everyone. And that became stark reality when my roommate, who of course was going to be white because less than 10% of the academy was minority. And my roommate happened to be from South Dakota. He had never seen a black person before. Yet we were roommates, and yet we got along very well. So the reality is that the military forces you to get along with people. And I think my perception was that the military was going to be for only one segment of society, but really it was for everyone. If you wanted to get ahead in life, the military gave you the opportunity, no matter who you were.
Tell me more about just kind of your overall experience. How long did you serve? What were some memorable things?
Well, I served for 21 years in the United States Army. As I mentioned before, my first assignment was Fort Knox, Kentucky. I was only there for 2 years because I volunteered to go to South Korea, and I went to South Korea as a first lieutenant and was very fortunate enough to take command of a 348th Supply and Service Company, a 200-person company comprised of not only U.S. soldiers, but I also had 70-plus Katusas, which are Korean augmentations to the United States Army, as well as about 70 Korean civilians. So that to me was the highlight of my career because as a young man at the age of 23, in charge of 200 people in a foreign country, doing something is something that most people at that age only dream about being able to do. But I was very fortunate throughout my career because most of my career, about 16 years of it, was really focused on working with senior executives in the military. I worked for Lieutenant General Tuttle as his Secretary of the General Staff at the Logistics Center at Fort Lee, Virginia. Had the opportunity to be the Executive Assistant to Admiral Davidson at the Defense Logistics Agency at Cameron Station here in Alexandria, Virginia. And I spent a lot of time at the Pentagon and had the opportunity to be an internship for the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the Army. At that time it was General Powell. And then I was an intern over at the Secretary of Defense office. And at that time I was the executive officer to, at that time it was Lieutenant General Alexander, Air Force General Officer. And I culminated my career being the military assistant to the Secretary of the Army. At that time, it was the acting Secretary of the Army, the Honorable Michael Walker. So I've been very fortunate. Doors were open to me because I went to the academy. Doors that, as a black individual, just would not have been open. I would not have been able to walk through those doors if I hadn't taken the first step and walked through the doors there at the academy at West Point.